Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We are super excited for it. We got some pretty cool stuff planned for you. Won't give too much away, but thanks so much, everyone who's joined. We'll give it another, I always try to do at least a couple minutes after the top of the hour before we dive right into it. But in the meantime, yeah, just wanted to say thanks. I see some familiar names. John, good to see you. Catherine, great to have you. Ali as well. Yep, awesome to see you. And Rena, yep, great to see you. Great, awesome. Megan, good to see you too. So yeah, for yeah, everyone who's made it out, thanks so much. We'll give everyone else another few minutes, and then we'll dive right into it. Reuven, you're always rocking the deeded swag. I gotta get some more blue
Yeah.
swag or something. Yeah.
You can never have enough.
Are you like just like a like Peter Griffin, where your whole closet is just the same outfit, deeded top, deeded shorts, deeded.
I've got a couple outfits, Tom, but it's more of like just having the mindset to make a decision in the morning. This is always easy, right?
You're like Steve Jobs, right? Didn't he have just like one thing, so he didn't have to think about his outfit. So there you go.
Yeah, one less decision a day. Trust me, it's easy.
Yeah,
Makes
there you go.
life easier for sure.
Good. See a couple more folks trickling in. Great to see you, David. Great to see Danny. Good to see you too. Yeah, thanks so much for joining.
Some awesome people, awesome names here. I recognize a lot.
Yeah. I think we had 180 registrants actually. So yeah. What's it usually? I think it's usually, if my whole thing is about half. If we had 180 register, maybe 90 will show up. I think
That'd be awesome.
it'd be really good. Be really good. Well on our way too. So that's great. Harry, good to see you. Alex, thanks for joining. Javier, yep, great to have you here. Cool. And Mariah,
Hey,
get it out. Yeah.
hey, Reuven.
Mariah.
Have you guys met, Reuven, you and Mariah?
Not officially, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Awesome.
Only unofficially. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now we're official.
Yeah, now it's official.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you at the mortgage summit. I don't know if you'll go to that one. Yeah, so we'll be there, and then we're going to Montreal too, so we'll have a booth
Oh,
there.
there you go.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, yeah, we'll give everyone maybe one more minute. I'm in Eastern time, so 2:03, maybe 11:03 for those on the West Coast, and then we'll dive right into it. If folks know of other people who might be joining, don't worry, it is recorded. And we will share the recording afterwards. But yeah, we'll get started in a minute or so here. Yep. Well, more and more people trickling in. Alan, good to see you. Who else just joined? Siobhan, good to see you. Tim, great to be here. Great to have you here. Awesome. Well, no time like the present, I guess. So I think we'll dive right into it here. Maybe just to start, we could do some quick intros and just who we are for anyone who's unsure, and where kind of this idea came from. So maybe I'll start. Yeah, my name's Tom. I'm one of the founders here at BluMortgage, CRM for mortgage brokers. So we've worked with now thousands of brokers across Canada, helping them stay in touch with their clients, build those client relationships. And yeah, where the idea of this came from, well, Reuven and I, and I'll let him do his intro in a second, we did a podcast. What was it? Maybe a month or two ago now. What's it been? Yeah, we're talking about all things AI as you do now, and it was a really great discussion. We had a lot of fun with it, and it was extremely popular. We got a ton of good feedback from it, and so we thought, okay, well, let's do a double click for anyone who maybe some people here already watched that episode, but if you haven't, watch that. That's almost like the intro to this webinar, and here is just us getting a little bit, maybe a bit more detailed, and showing you some very specific tactical tips that you can use in your mortgage business today. That's the goal of it. So yeah, that's the agenda there, but I won't get too far, Reuven, without giving letting you give yourself a bit of an intro there.
Tom, no, thanks. Appreciate it. And again, great to see so many familiar folks joining. I think we're going to have a very exciting hour together. So my name is Reuven Gorsht. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Deeded, deeded.ca, if you're more familiar with the name. Essentially, if you're not familiar with Deeded, we are closing real estate transactions and mortgage transactions. And we've really streamlined the process using the best of technology, people, and process to make your clients' closings as seamless as it can be and give you visibility all throughout the closing process, so you know exactly what's going on at any given time. And of course, when you know what's going on and you have more of that sense of control, your clients know what's going on, and it just makes for a much better experience. So appreciate the opportunity to do this. Like I said, like Tom just mentioned, we've been, geeking out on a lot of the stuff that's coming down in terms of not only technology, but specifically, there's a lot of technology. I think there's no shortage of, AI apps coming out, and literally hundreds of them every week. But I know Tom and I spend a lot of our spare time actually digging through of what's relevant to the industry and what can be potentially the game changers that you can use and either take off the shelf later on this afternoon after this podcast, or maybe down the road, and realize everyone's business is a little bit different. So hopefully we've got some good action-packed insights for you this afternoon.
Absolutely, and I think that that's a nice segue transition right into, I think, what we want to kind of get into. So I'm going to share my screen here. Mariah, maybe let me know, or I guess actually, do you know what, if the folks can watching can give a thumbs up, just they can see that. Okay, is that coming through okay for everyone?
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one thumbs up. Reuven, you're good. Okay, a couple more thumbs up. Great. So yeah, I mean, this is the boring stuff, the title, what we're going to go through today. I think we do want to talk a little bit about just maybe a little bit of a recap, kind of, what we talked about in the podcast, what we're seeing, how we're approaching, tech, but more specifically AI in the industry right now, and what we see some top teams doing. Then we're going to get into the juicy stuff. We're going to get into our kind of our favorite tools right now. I think we've each prepared 2 or 3 that we want to kind of show everyone that we've seen in action actually being used. I think there's going to be some cool ones there. We're going to make it a bit fun too. We're going to do a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it, like a tech battle, if such a thing exists. So I set up a little poll in the webinar. So basically, I just activated it, and it says, "Hey, who showed the cooler AI tech?" We should have had some sort of wager or something on this, Reuven, but at least for now, it'll be bragging rights. So if we're going to kind of go through, I already got a vote. I don't know who voted for me. We haven't even showed you what we're going to show you yet. But
This one's here.
yeah.
It's fixed.
It's fixed. Yes, I got some plants in the audience there. So no, we're gonna make it a bit fun and kind of show you that, make it a bit of a battle, and then we're gonna wrap things up with a bit of an announcement, something that each of us have been working on, and I think it's gonna affect anyone on this call who's using Blue or Deeded or both. It's gonna be a cool thing. So we'll wrap up with that, but let's get right into that. Industry tech updates. I put this as super simple because if I started writing, it would take up the whole page in terms of how people are thinking of things right now. But I think maybe a good place to start is kind of what you talked about, Reuven, which is the fact that there is hundreds, I think it was a week. I think you know the stats a bit better than me. And how do you cut through that noise? How do you find the the signal from the noise, because I think there is that noise out there. And, I think that's the trick for a lot of these things right now. And that's a lot of, I think, like you said, what we're trying to do in our free time as we tinker with these different tools is find what is that thing that's actually going to drive value and what is just a shiny object. So how do you kind of think through that? And yeah, do you agree that there's a lot of noise out there? How are you kind of thinking about that, Reuven?
Yeah, there's a lot, I think, is an understatement, Tom, if you're really following the progression of, technology and then specifically AI. So AI, just to throw out a figure, there's close to $1 trillion in capital that's been invested in AI in the last 24 months.
Trillion with a T, yeah.
Trillion with a big T, right?
Yeah.
And if you're, if you're in a stock market, or if you follow, you've seen companies like Nvidia, for example, just skyrocket. I know, someone who's, going to retire just based on a small investment a few years ago.
Wow.
And a lot of that is driven by AI. And, with anything that's new, there's a good amount of like hot air. Obviously, there's people were bullish about other stuff, Bitcoin, crypto, you name it, virtual reality.
Web 3.0, right? The metaverse. What was that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But AI is, first of all, AI is not new. AI is not 2 years old. AI has been around for a long time. Now you're starting to see the development of these tools that are real world use cases. I think that's the difference, Tom, that we're seeing is not, it's not a toy anymore. It's not in a research lab in some, university basement. Now all of us are using AI. Even, this platform we're on right now is, capturing a transcript and recording notes and all these sentiments. And it's AI powered. Your Microsoft Office is now AI powered. So AI is everywhere. In terms of just, to answer your question, in terms of how do we think about synthesizing it, there's a ton of noise. Personally, for me, there's no shortcut. It's spending a lot of time just, trying things out. Some of the things, like I tried something out, for example, on the weekend, and it looked promising. Like the website was amazing. I'm like, this could do that. And I literally put in my credit card. And then I found out I can't do any of that stuff. And I'm like, please cancel.
Refund.
Luckily I've got, these like cancelable credit cards right now that can, that I use. But bottom line, for the folks listening is you have to try, what we can do today. And if you've seen, Tom and I speak about the topic, is we already spent a lot of time for you to distill what matters, right? So we'll take it and give it a little bit of an angle. How can you use it in the mortgage business? How can you use it for, sales and marketing and connecting better with customers? But the next step is on really everybody here to go and actually sign up, actually try it. In all honesty, you're probably going to get like a 70-80% failure rate, meaning it's not going to work for the business.
Yep.
You would have tried. And even if you get that 30% success rate, I think some of the tools we're going to chat about, and I have no idea what Tom's going to show, but some of these tools are, they're not only game changer, but ultimately, I personally think the biggest hurdle for everyone in the mortgage business is the ability to scale, right? Scale yourself and be able to do more transactions. And, we get bogged into, document collection and calls back and forth and just a lot of overhead. We got, we're about a month away from a whole bunch of stuff being introduced.
A whole bunch of overhead. Yeah.
Right. AML, right? Tom and I chatted about this the other day. So let's face reality here. For you as a mortgage broker, it's never going to be, oh, by the way, Tom, you get to do less. We're going to remove a whole bunch of pieces for you. It's always going to be more. So now it's on you to figure out, well, what tools can I use, right? If you're going to, put up, if you're going to, say frame a shed or whatever, you can use a screwdriver to do it, right? It'll just take you hours and hours and you might actually lose motion in your hands. Bad advice, don't do it. Or, just go on, buy a power drill. So you need to find the tools that are going to help you out.
No, totally. And I think, I always frame it as, we're in kind of like that 1996 moment, and not that I remember it intimately because I was quite young. I'm not going to say how young, but I was young at that time. But if I read the history books, it's it's similar that what that was at the internet, I think that's what AI is now. And AI, or sorry, internet at that time wasn't a new thing. It wasn't necessarily that new. I think the internet came around in like the 70s or 80s. And then what happened in the 90s, people actually made it usable, had real life examples. But even so, if you look at all the, there was the dot-com crash, right? About 80% again of those people that were trying to find applications to the internet, they still ended up failing. But there was the 20% or even the 10%, I don't know what it ended up being, the Amazons, the Googles, the whatever, that end up changing the game for everybody, right? And I think that's the moment that we're in, and the people who are able to adopt those things better and quicker were the people that won through that transition, through that .com. And I think I was talking to a gentleman, Jeff Ingram. I don't know, a couple folks on the call might know him, and he said it this way, which I think was great, is that's actually a huge advantage that the broker channel has over perhaps some of the banks that we work with, right? For a bank to adopt a new tool, it has to go through 12 months of approvals, and they can't afford they're moving at Titanic. They can't afford to be wrong. And so they're not okay with having an 80% failure rate because it's just too expensive. But as a broker, you could pick it up. Reuven said later today, which is probably true. These tools, just pick it up and start using it. And if it fails, okay, cancel, get a cancelable credit card, and move on to the next one. It's I think a very unique place for the broker in this moment to be able to try these types of things. And then you talk about regulation too. I think none of this is going to go away, and I think all it's going to do is create more barriers. And so what it means is the people who can adopt tech, pardon me, and really take things to the next level, the really kind of top-notch brokers, they're going to actually, I think, do even better because they're going to eat the lunch of the people who don't adopt the tech, who don't decide to do this, and they end up just, building a shed with a screwdriver, using Reuven's example, right? But the people who can adopt that drill, they can build that shed quicker, and they can, rinse and repeat a lot more and do it a lot more efficiently. So, yeah, so enough, I guess, of the prelude there. Let's get right into it here. A couple cool tools. I want you to keep me accountable here. I'm going to try and I have 3 tools I want to show. I want to do each of them in about 2 minutes, so maybe around 2:23-ish. Mariah, maybe you can stop me, but I want to show you a couple kind of cool tools, and these are ones that we've seen people use and do it in a pretty cool way. So let's get into it. So I'm going to go first. This is the actual battle part. So if there's votes, now is the time to get your ballot out. Wait till Reuven shows his, because he's probably going to blow my socks off. But I want to show you a couple things here. So the first is CRM. So I'm a bit of the home team advantage here. I'm going to show you some cool stuff that's happening in the CRM world these days as it relates to writing emails and AI and that sort of thing. And then I want to talk about 2 other ones: Reclaim, which may be a lesser known one, but a pretty cool one. And then Fathom, which I think maybe a few folks on the call maybe are using or heard of. I'll describe what it is and how it actually kind of brings it all together, how we can bring it all together. So let's get right into it here. So number 1 here is that CRM. So this is a sample thing in the BluMortgage CRM. It's actually Zoho, but this is the CRM that we built BluMortgage on. And this is an email that I wrote. So this is one that I wrote earlier today, but this is an email I might have written maybe a week ago when we're actually trying to plan this webinar. So I'm not going to go through it, and you shouldn't either. You shouldn't read it all. But I wrote this email, and there it is. But there's 2 things I wanted to kind of show with this, which are pretty cool. So the first one, this whole area here has now been integrated with ChatGPT. So the first thing that I can do actually is when I start kind of typing there, this little light bulb shows up. I can click that, and you can see actually the AI is suggesting a subject line for that. So not going to save you a ton of time, but kind of a cool thing there. Best practice and best practices. Sometimes it's not perfect. You can tweak it, but gives you a bit of a shortcut there. But what I really, really like with this is you can actually do what's called smart prompts, and it opens up a little almost portal into ChatGPT, takes the context of the email. So it really takes all of that. I can tell it to do something specific, right? I could say, hey, make more professional or something like that. Or I can use these sliders to say, hey, make this email short and professional, and we'll hit update. And so what it's doing, it's actually interacting with ChatGPT, and it just took what was a 90 word, I don't know if you saw that, I think it's 99 words, cut it in half, much more professional, and copy, paste that in, and just like that, I got a much more concise email. And these types of things I think make an impact, right? If not in the time it takes for you, maybe it's for your recipient, Reuven, or maybe your clients, making it much more digestible, something that they can really use there. So that's number one on my list of tools. And maybe, if there's questions, why don't you throw them in the chat? I just, for the sake of time, I do want to keep things to the point, but happy to go into any questions or comments on any of this as we go through it.
I have a quick question. That
Go ahead. Yeah.
Over time, does the AI kind of learn your writing style and adapt?
Good question. Short answer is no, but not right now. I mean, I think that's hopefully coming, right? I think that's the other thing. Just like all of the, I think consumers, us, are trying to figure out where the value is. I think the CRM providers are doing that too, to say, okay, let's start with something simple, then let's see how people use it and start to adjust and adapt it as we go. So that's the hope. But yeah, short answer is right now, not now. Yeah. Cool. Let's roll. This one, reclaim.ai. This is kind of like a schedule planner tool. It integrates, I think, just with Gmail right now. This is actually my colleague Massimo. He's a tinkerer just as much as I am, and I asked him to borrow this. So without looking at the specifics of exactly his schedule here, I wanted to show you how exactly this works. So it's a scheduler. It looks like a calendar off the bat, but what it does for you is it allows you to really plan your day in an intelligent way. So what it does is it kind of does three things. So it takes in all your meetings and kind of puts those in the calendar. Okay, great. But then what it does as a second thing is it takes all of your tasks. And now Massimo has 33 tasks. He's got a bunch here. And there's priorities with each of those tasks. And it actually it'll find the slots in your calendar and it'll say, okay, well, this task takes 45 minutes, but it's a high priority thing. So we're going to take the first 45-minute slot. And so it's going to help you plan your day, stay efficient, and make sure you're staying on top of it. And it'll be dynamic too. So let's say, okay, you're supposed to do that 45-minute, but then that slot comes and go and you actually don't do it. That's okay. It'll just find the next one for you and it'll rearrange the schedule based on that. So it does that. That's number two. And then number three, you can introduce these things called habits. You can see things like exercise or morning catch up again for Massimo here. These are like meetings that are flexible, right? So I do want to do this every single day. I do want to exercise every single day. But hey, do you maybe have a meeting that goes there? And so once that meeting gets placed, it'll actually try to reschedule that exercise slot for you. So again, it's using AI, it's getting smart, it's learning your habits, it's understanding the tasks you have on a day-to-day basis and how you execute them, and it's planning this out for you. So again, it's something that's more productivity on your end, but it's being smart. Things that you might do already, but it's keeping you accountable and making sure it's as efficient as possible in planning out that day. So love this one. Really, really cool one here. The last one I'm going to show, and if I'm going too quick, I apologize, but I just want to make sure there's enough time for questions and for Reuven to go and all of that. The last one here is Zapier. So I pulled up the Zapier screen, but I remember I said Fathom. So I want to bring those two together. Fathom is a tool, if for those of you unfamiliar with it, you add it to your Zoom call. I think it's typically Zoom, and it'll actually record it for you and give a summary of your call. Very cool, works really well. We've used it a bunch, and it's great. What takes it to the next level, though, is being able to then take that transcript. So this AI agent is actually recording your call and summarizing it for you, and then taking it and attaching it to a CRM record somewhere you can readily access it and have that context for your client. And the reason I pulled up Zapier, because Zapier is a great tool to do it, and Zapier has this AI generator tool that kind of can create a Zap for you. So I can come in here and say, take my fathom.ai transcript / summary and add it to the related client in Zoho CRM. and it's actually doing that. So now the AI is interpreting that sentence just like I would say it to you, Reuven, or something like that, and it creates a app for me, and I can try it, and it's going to open up a nice app editor. Now, usually, as it was with that subject, I'm going to have to do a couple little tweaks here or there, but there you go, right? I don't have to go through and understand all the ins and outs of Zapier. It gets me 80% of the way there, and I just have to make sure it makes sense. So just another tool there. So like I said, that was a bit quick, maybe drinking from a fire hose, but just to respect everyone's time, I wanted to make sure I got through each of that. So I'll stop there. I think I've set the bar pretty high for Reuven and this tech battle that we're doing here. But like I said, he'll probably knock my socks off anyway. So I'll turn it over to you.
I'm gonna have to change my whole plan now, Tom. And
did I steal some for you there? Yeah.
No.
Right,
I mean, I just want to comment. Awesome tools. Yeah. For I think the second one that I show, I actually use something similar called Motion. So
okay.
As I mentioned, in the beginning of the call, there's so much coming out. So don't be surprised if there's like one tool that could, there's 15 different tools that essentially do the same thing. And it's on you now to kind of try them out and see what you're most comfortable with. Some are going to be cheaper than others, but that one is a real game changer, especially if you are trying to balance your time. If you've got tasks or projects, it'll literally, block time off, and you get busy and let's say you miss a task, it'll just reschedule it at an ideal time, and you give it parameters. So it really, I would encourage anybody to try it, because it's your calendar and organization tool on steroids all in one. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, absolutely. And it's one of those things where, you try to do that anyways in your head, but we're fallible humans, and that, we might get pulled into whatever, my news feed or this, or someone calls me. But if you can have that schedule doing it for you, and you can keep it structured and keep honest to it, it's more than just telling you what you should do. It's, it's keeping you accountable to that, right? So absolutely.
Yeah. So so I'm excited to share my screen here, and a lot of my tools are sort of going to be based around marketing and engagement. And a reason why, actually, I saw an article, I think it was yesterday in a Financial Post. Our friend Rob McLister, who, by the way, if you don't follow Rob, he's incredibly knowledgeable about the mortgage industry. But Rob put this article in the Financial Post basically saying that the keyword mortgage is the #1 most searched keyword in Canada. And it's broken records even from COVID. It's unbelievable. Like, and look it up, right? So,
wow.
So why am I bringing this up? It's, this is the time when people are obviously searching, and search equals intent. People are searching for whether they're renewing, whether they're looking to jump back into the market. So that's why it's kind of decided to give you a little bit of more of a marketing spin. If you're doing social media, if you're looking to get into social media, here's a couple things that I wanted to share with you. So the first one, sorry, I'm just going to share.
Oh, I think you have to make you presenter here.
Yeah, no, it's coming up.
Oh, it's coming? Great. Okay.
Coming up. All right.
It's thinking.
Can you guys see my screen?
You got a thumbs up from me.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So one of the biggest things with social is to essentially come up with unique images, and this is something fairly new. It's called ideogram. And Tom, maybe if you want to give me a description of an image that you'd like to see, maybe something realistic. Let's come up with something, see what it does.
Right. Well, I'm just looking up F1 because there's some coming out F1. So why don't we talk about a race car racing down some city streets, something like that? Would that be?
Let's make it more specific.
Yeah.
So let's say
Okay.
Racing downtown Toronto with the license plate. All right. That's specific enough.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna make it realistic.
Now you're really testing it. Okay.
I can choose. Let's say I don't know. This is some of our deeded colors is all pastel, so I'm going to do pastel just for the sake of it. And then it's going to take us 40 seconds. In the meantime, if you want, I could sing karaoke, or we can wait together. But just to give you a demo, what it does is, essentially anything you can describe can now be generated by AI, and it'll make realistic images. So I'm 99% complete. So let's take a look at the variations here. So does that look familiar? It kind of looks like downtown Toronto, right?
Yeah.
There you go. And we've got
Absolutely does.
the race car going, and then we have another variation of it that looks a little bit less like Toronto, looks a little European. Well, there's no traffic, so it can't be Toronto, right? So
Yeah.
we know that.
Touche. Yeah.
There's another one. And last but not least, here you go again. And it's screwed up on the I think the mortgage license plate looks like it's Russian or something, but not perfect yet. But just to give you some examples, like these are some images that I've created before with this stuff. And I was at a brokerage yesterday, and I said, let's have it's called MPFG. So it's created this. It's created some graphics.
Wow.
You might have seen some of these. So this is an interesting one. I said, middle-aged man holding a sign that the rates have dropped, and it gave me different variations. So hopefully you guys can see how you can leverage some of this stuff for your social media. If you need images, if you're, what do I post on Instagram, and you don't always want to sit there in Canva and create a graphic or whatever, sky's the limit on what you can do, right?
Amazing.
So that's my first one. And it only gets better. It can generate posters, can generate a whole bunch of stuff, right? My second one that I'm gonna share is something called Suno. Can we share sound, Tom? Do you know? Will it share sound?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd say give it a try, and we'll see.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
It should.
It should. Okay.
You
Try.
think so? Okay. Yeah.
The Suno is essentially a song generator, right? So AI doesn't only do text. AI doesn't only do images or movies now. You could do, you can write a song, right? So let's come up with, Tom and Reuven discuss AI in the mortgage industry as a rap song, right? I'm just going to hit create. It's creating it. And again, hopefully our audio works. And what it'll do is basically create a couple song options here. Here we go. Some of these things are a little bit faster than others, but it's coming along. So let's try. Let me see. Let me know if you guys hear the audio. Can you hear it?
I can't hear it.
No?
Not really. I think when you share, you need to choose the option that shares the audio as well.
We can hear it like through your mic, Reuven. It's like it's kind of coming through, so we're catching bits and pieces of it.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Lines cascade. Can you hear it? Tom says efficiency is the dream.
Bits and pieces. Yeah.
Machine learning, churn. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I always find it.
We'll send it in the follow-up. We'll send the MP3, or maybe it's on Spotify already. So
we're always talking about AI and advanced technology, change the world type of stuff, and we can't even get audio through a Zoom. But that's a conversation for another day. But
yeah, I think so.
What's cool about Suno? So you might think, well, why is this guy showing me a song generator? What the hell does that have to do with the mortgage business? Music is very personal. If you have a client that's got a birthday coming up, you got a realtor partner, financial advisor partner, send them a song. And I've been sending all my friends songs, and they love it. It's a great way to engage in a conversation, right? If it's their birthday, or, even write a little song you post on social media about, the rate drop and all that sort of stuff. And if anything fails, it's a great conversation around the dinner table. And just careful, if you got young kids, to hand it over, because they'll just rip you. So that was Suno. The last one is, and I'm debating. I've got like 3 that I want to show, but I'll show you this one. And this one's really changed my day. It's one of those productivity tools. So I'm going to share something called Napkin, and you're going to love. The reason to love Napkin even more than anything is it's free. So I'm a big note taker. So you can start like a blank napkin. So just allows you to take notes or whatever, right? So if we're doing notes about this meeting, we could do notes about this meeting. The other thing you could do is you could draft a napkin note with an AI, right? So what are the top ways mortgage brokers can leverage AI? That's how we got ready for this presentation. And you'll obviously see, and this is nothing fancy, right? So it'll just give you, some of the areas and all that stuff. But here's where the cool factor comes in, is, as most of you know, people are very visual, right? You'll send your clients a whole document. Here's all the document lists that I need and all that stuff. But no one's going to read it, and you're going to ask for 15 documents. They're going to send you 4. Here's the game changer here. So anything I highlight, so I'm going to highlight these, let's say 8 points. And I'm going to go back up here and click this little lightning bolt, and it's clearly doing something. What it'll do is it'll take all my text and give me a visual. So everything I just said now is in a chart, or it's in a matrix, or, if this is the style you fancy, if this is a style that you like, all the way down to like, some really, really cool visuals, pros and cons, right? Like, so it automatically took, all our categories, generated a pros and cons list, why choose AI. And the nice thing is, if I want to change anything, I can always come in here and change, let's say, a word. So instead of enhanced, I'm going to say, awesome. Oops. Right. I could change some of the colors to match my, brand, etc. And of course, I can save it. I could share it as a PDF, right? So it lets me do anything, any topic as a visual, and I can obviously, pick any article here, does its little magic, and it'll give me a way to summarize, even if it's a little graphic like this. Really cool, right?
Totally. You say you've been using it, Reuven, like more on a day-to-day basis, or it says, I guess you said you've changed more your day-to-day. How do you use it? Like, do you use it on a Zoom call? Do you use it in a follow-up email? Are you using it for social media, like some of those other tools? Is it a bit of all the above? How do you, like, where's the biggest impact you've seen with a tool like that?
I've seen pretty much everything, right? So in communication, sometimes, again, you're tempted to write a long email to someone explaining something.
Yeah.
So much easier to send a paragraph and then send a flow chart or a mind map or instructions, and people love it, right?
Yeah.
It saves time. It's a huge time saver for me. And then, of course, the sky's the limit. Presentations, outlines, explaining stuff to your kids, like the sky's the limit. But I think, once you get into that, if you're a big note taker, you're going to love this. And then, the extra value of, being able to put anything in a graphic way. Because look, I mean, we're all in business to simplify things for our clients, right? We're in business to simplify your client's closing. Tom, you're simplifying, the entire cycle of customer acquisition all the way to close. Anything you could do to simplify and remove steps is a win.
Yeah, that's the I mean, that's just the whole thing. I mean, just like, as you know, as professionals here, we're inundated by new tech and new noise, and it just increases for our customers too, right? They're getting way more emails, way more communication, you know, AI generated spam, right? Which is going to be much more targeted. It's going to be much smarter. It's going to be much more sophisticated. So the more you can stand out and do things uniquely, you know, not just using AI to leverage that and allow you to add your own spin, but also be efficient and, you know, scale yourself, as Reuven talked about at the beginning. You know, it's just going to become that much more important as we go. Bless you, Mariah. I think that was a sneeze there. So I do see a bunch of questions coming through. I appreciate it. Just for the sake of time, just because we are getting close to kind of our allotted time, I want to spend just the next 2 minutes talking about an announcement that we have coming up. We're really excited for it. So we'll get into that. We'll let you guys know about it, and then for the time that we do have left, Mariah, we'll just work through a bunch of the questions there, if that works. So let me pull this up. So I guess, also, of course, the poll should be open. The tech battle is now been fought, and you guys are the judges. Cast your vote. No pressure if you don't have a winner, if it's a tie, but just for some fun, cast your vote, and we'll announce it at the end. But yeah, getting right to it, the announcement, we've alluded to it a bit. What is it? Of course, I mean, probably what you guys could have guessed is now officially BluMortgage and Deeded is two separate platforms. We now have a partnership and are officially working together. So, you know, this is going to take a lot of different forms over, I think, the next several months, if not years. I think we're going to always continue to try to evolve and grow and improve this partnership. For us, we we know Reuven and his team for a while now, and we've heard just continually great things about it. So we thought it was at the right time to really get in and dive in headfirst into this partnership. What we're doing to start is we've actually built an out-of-the-box, ready-to-go kind of plug-and-play, what we call an extension, but basically an add-on, a feature that you can add to your BluMortgage CRM that allows you to manage statuses, pre-built templates that Reuven has taken time and probably used some AI tools to fully build out and make that flow from Blue to Deeded that much more easier, and even workflows, so that as you're referring, you know, this work back and forth, if you're doing a workflow in Blue and you do refer a client over to Deeded, it's going to make it that you stay accountable to it, right? That you're following up and you're doing that sort of thing, and all that's pre-built, ready to go. All you need to do is, and here's a kind of a bit of that sneak peek, so you can see how we have, you know, statuses to really manage that. I talked about what Reuven was able to create with the pre-built templates, really specific, really targeted, really well built. Again, in your CRM, ready to go. All you need to do is hit that send button. Maybe you want to use a smart prompt to put it in your own words, or maybe make it more casual, which of course you can. But those templates are there, and then automated follow-ups in the CRM. Up to you to just turn on or off. So we have those ready to go to get into your Blue. If you are a BluMortgage user already, to get whatever you see on the screen here into your account. We're just going to send a follow-up right after that. It's a click, super simple, and it'll install everything and have it ready to go in your CRM. So like I said, this is something we're really excited about. It's something that we've been working on for a bit. I think it's going to provide a lot of value, and you know, it's just a sign of things to come too. We're going to continue to evolve this partnership and make it that much better for you, our customers. Anything to add there, Reuven?
Yeah, Tom, I think just from a business context, what are we trying to solve with this exciting announcement is a lot of brokers that, you know, Tom and I speak with really lack that visibility between the time that you get a commitment till the time that your deal funds, right? So call a little bit of a black hole that's happening right now in terms of understanding that there may be 5 or 6 or 7 steps in the middle that, you know, your lawyer or your title company does. So when you choose to close with Deeded, and I'm going to put a little meeting link here, you can book some time with me and my team to understand a little bit more. If you're not using Deeded today, we'd love to understand your business a little bit more and kind of give you an overview of how we fit into making your business more efficient. But essentially, think about it as closing that gap. So through Blue, you're going to be able to now get Deeded introduced as your client's lawyer. You're going to be able to get and check the different statuses. So you're going to get almost like an Amazon tracker or pizza tracker into every step of your client's closing. So now you're closing that gap. You get a lot more visibility and control over what happens. Common questions we hear or concerns that we hear from brokers. I don't know when the lender sent mortgage instructions. I don't know that the lawyers contacted my client. All of this stuff now gets solved for you. And again, in the spirit of making ourselves more efficient and saving time and elevating that client experience to the next level, now we're essentially, what we're doing with this partnership is really creating an industry first. So now you're using the same interface in Blue to go end to end from the minute that a lead lands all the way to funding, and of course beyond, re-engaging those clients all in one place without having 1,000 different applications and passwords and all that sort of stuff. So more to come on that, but just wanted to hit some of the points on the business side.
No, I think that's great, and I think that's important context, of course, that that I might have brushed over there, but I mean the context is huge, and I think it is one of those things. We talk about these new tools, and I think they're very exciting. But there's also a little bit of a growing sentiment. I feel it, and you kind of alluded to it there, where it's almost this like fatigue of, okay, another tab that I have to have open, another link that I have to remember, another password that I have to remember, and so I think that goes hand in hand with a lot of these new tools. I don't think they're going away. I think we will have these new tools, but will be these types of integrations where you can use a single interface, but be able to use multiple tools within that same interface. And I think that's just going to continue. So yeah, thanks for that, Reuven. Mariah, how are we doing for Q&A? Are there questions there? How does it look? Should we do you want to pull some up, or what would be best? I'm not sure if this is a question. It just says, web browsers in the early 90s made the internet take off. Before that, it was limited to uptake. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Stuart. Mariah, did you pull that up, or did that kind of automatically happen, or what was? Mariah, you might be on mute. So.
Oh, sorry. I am putting them in the screen here. I was asking if you could see it. I just realized I was muted.
Okay, no worries. Great, and so and I have the Q&A up here. There's a couple about Blue and how does the smart prompts work and that sort of thing. So yeah, if you haven't used, I can actually even share my screen. If you haven't used those smart prompts in Blue yet, it is something that you do have to set up. It is an integration with ChatGPT, right? Like I said, that's kind of like a portal right into ChatGPT. How it works is, I'll pull up this. I don't want to get into a whole tutorial here, but this is the settings area of Blue, and Blue actually always has an AI. It was called Zia. Zia was kind of Zoho's AI tool, and it still exists, but now just enhanced with ChatGPT. And under Zia, there's an option for smart prompts. So that's what I was showing you today. And when you turn this on to enable it into your CRM, you do have to put it in your OpenAI or ChatGPT API key. So it's included in BluMortgage, so no extra cost there. But I do think you need a subscription, I think a premium subscription to ChatGPT in order to have that. So it's there ready to go. You just need to connect it with a premium ChatGPT account.
Yeah, that was actually one of the next questions that someone was asking. What about Zia?
Okay, yeah. So I think, yeah, that's.
I already answered that one.
Great.
Someone was asking about the scheduler tool and how does it integrate into Zoho Meet?
The one I showed with Reclaim. So right now, actually, it doesn't. I mean, right now it's just Google based. So anytime you have Google Calendar, that sort of thing, that's what's actually going to come across. So yeah, I mean, that's the long and the short of it. I would imagine over time these things will get more integrated and better, but at least for now, that tool is specifically more of a Google tool. So anyone using the G Suite can leverage at least that tool. I don't know about yours, Reuven, if the one you use, if it's a Google Calendar or like an Outlook calendar. I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
For it, yeah, I think if we're talking about motion, I
Yes.
believe it integrates with pretty much every calendar. I
Okay.
personally use it with Google, but
Okay.
and yeah, it just it's you have to get into the habit of actually using it. But once you do, it's a life changer.
Absolutely. Yep. Great.
Reuven, some people were asking, what is the name of the last tool that you used?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in the chat. So Napkin, just like a napkin.ai.
Okay.
Perfect.
Napkin.ai.
Napkin. Yeah. And it's free for the time being, which is a huge bonus. So if you're planning to sign up, I would suggest signing up now before they get some good uptick and start charging.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Be an early adopter. I mean, it goes back to what we talked about again. There's so many tools. They're all fighting. I mean, people spend $1 trillion, and I bet a lot of that trillion is just getting people like us using their tool, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of these introductory offers, and the people who are early adopters are going to benefit from it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Someone was asking, what are your thoughts on the transcription tool in Words, taking the Zoom audio clip and uploading it into the Word transcript tool?
Sure, I know exactly what the question is. Maybe it looks like it's Vic here is asking it. Ruben, I don't know if you have some thoughts on that specifically, but a lot of these tools that we're talking about, like that Fathom one, for example, actually does take that. It takes like a Zoom audio, right? So it sits there in the Zoom with you, and as you're talking, as it's doing, it's actually transcripting it on the fly. So it's going to have that, and then it'll actually summarize it too to say, okay, well, what did you talk about? What were the topics? What were the different sections? And then what are the next steps? Even all that stuff comes out of a tool like Fathom.
There's a lot of them right now in the market. I use something called Firefly, if anybody's heard of it. So Fireflies is one, and now I'm finding actually. So last I heard, Google, like if you're a Google workspace user, you are going to get a free tool as well, right? Because Google's and I'm sure Microsoft is not too far behind. So I wouldn't suggest, if you subscribe to something, don't take the annual plan, go monthly, because you might be able to get it for free, and I think you will get it for free with most of the tools you already use.
Sounds good. Reuven, do you know if there are any copyright issues with the images generated?
Not that I know of. I mean, they're all, like, if you look through the website, they're all original, right? Because they're based on your description. So I don't think there's any issues off the top of my head. But again, we're treading some very early days in this stuff, so I'm sure the inspiration. I saw a Toyota logo there, so I'm not quite sure if that's copyright. I'm pretty sure it is, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger question, and we probably don't have time for it on this. Well, we definitely don't, because it's a massive issue. It's just copyright with this, right? Like there was a lawsuit by the New York Times against ChatGPT that said, "Hey, you built ChatGPT using our, copyrighted content." And ChatGPT says, "Well, it's not exactly what we use. We just trained off of it. We didn't use it." So it's, we're getting into some weird territory there, and I think only over the next couple of years, and maybe a couple of these court battles, if you will, we have a clear answer on that. Yeah.
Now, question for both of you. Do you guys know of any app that it's like Fathom, but for phone call instead of Zoom meetings? Someone is asking here.
Depends what you're using for your phone, right? So a lot of I know a lot of people are moving. We moved to a system that's completely voice over IP. We don't have physical phones, and again, like our provider is basically doing AI transcription and summarization.
What do you guys use, Reuven?
I'm trying to remember. Dialpad.
Dialpad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know those guys well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same exact same answer as us. Like if you're using your phone, like mine's through, I think Rogers, they won't do that because it basically just goes straight to the tower, and then it's all kind of behind that Rogers firewall. But what Reuven talked about, voice over IPs, internet phones, is that before it actually goes to the Rogers tower, it goes through a server, it goes through a computer. So you call, it hits a computer, and then it goes. And the benefit of that is that there's a lot of stuff that can happen on that computer. So yeah, whether it is Dialpad, we actually use Zoom. So Zoom has a Zoom phone. That's what it's called. It's a product of theirs, and it does the exact same thing. And really, each of them are able to do these transcriptions now. So it comes more so with the willingness to switch over. There's a lot of other benefits that come with these types of internet phones. It's not going to be the exact same number that you have right now. I wouldn't even recommend it for a lot of different reasons. But without getting there, if you are using an internet phone, it's possible. Just kind of for your regular old Rogers cell plan, probably not going to come for a while.
Robin mentioned here that Fireflies integrates with RingCentral.
Awesome. But yeah, so Ring Central is one of those voice over IP, if I'm not mistaken. We don't use it personally, but yeah. So again, like on a traditional, Bell or Telus phone line, probably not anytime soon. It's analog. Anything that's out there will have some sort of option. And yeah, Firefly is also on another note works on your phone. So if you're having a face-to-face conversation, of course, you get the person's permission to record. You can actually do that in a physical interaction as well. So if someone's coming into your office, for example, but
cool.
remember to get permission to record them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone else also suggested Banafo.
Yep, probably another one of those. Yeah, Stuart. Yeah, probably another one of those types of tools. And yeah, it's a good point. It can be on your phone. So like the Zoom, I have the Zoom app on my phone, and I can open that and I can actually place a call. So the interaction, the feel of it is very similar to your regular old phone call, but again, it's through Zoom. It's not through Rogers or whatever. So yeah.
There's two more questions here. One for Tom, and maybe we can answer offline if it's the case, but they were asking, how does that partnership interface with the integration with Boss?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too like directly. I think that for Blue and how we've always done all our partnerships is that Blue is the hub, right? At least for a lot of the folks who use BluMortgage, it's the hub, and we just have a lot of different spokes, right? So one spoke being Boss, right, which is a great partner of ours, which allows us to get data into the system, and then now another spoke now is Deeded, and so now with the data and that workflow in BluMortgage, the transition to using Deeded for your closing services just becomes that much easier, right? So Blue is the hub, and we're just pulling in data and sending data to different places based on that. Yeah.
Sounds good. And Reuven, Rod was asking, what other AI tech do you like?
Oh, we don't have time. That's another couple hours.
Careful what you wish for. Yeah.
So I will say this. So I'm at MPC. If you guys are at MPC in Montreal, I'm actually running an hour and a half workshop where we're gonna deep dive into dozens of different tools and try them out and do some stuff hands-on. So use this as a teaser. You'll find my session. I believe it's on the Sunday of the MPC. So if you are there, make sure to attend or reach out. I'm always happy to have a chat about, again, I'm trying to show more generic tools, but every one of you runs your business differently. So if you ever want to ask specific questions, if you're looking to automate something or accelerate something, just feel free to reach out.
Well, we're coming to the hour here, so that flew by. But I guess I've alluded to it a bunch. So let's dive into the poll. So me pull it up here. Wow. Okay. So Reuven is the winner from a 19-6 voting. So wow. I mean, I got crushed there. So I gotta go back to the drawing board, I think, a bit. But no, all joking aside, it was no, great. I mean, I think great tools all around, and Reuven, you showed some really awesome stuff. So thank you. Thanks for that, and thanks to everyone who joined. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. And Tom, maybe we're up for a rematch at some point. We'll try
should.
this again. All
Yeah,
right.
that's yeah,
Cheers.
amazing. Okay, thanks
Thanks,
again,
everyone.
everyone. Yep.
Cheers.
Bye.
Have a great one.